I let a stranger hide in my apartment, and I don't know if I regret it. This happened last year, and I still don't know if I made the right call. It was around 11 p.m., and I had just gotten home from a late shift. I live in a small apartment in a not-so-great part of the city, so I'm always a little on edge when walking home. That night felt off. As I was unlocking my door, I noticed a guy standing at the end of the hallway. He wasn't doing anything, just standing there, but something about him made my stomach drop. I got inside, locked the door, and tried to shake it off. Not even 5 minutes later, someone knocked. Hard. I froze. It wasn't my neighbor, she texts before coming over, and I don't really have friends who drop by unannounced. Then, a voice. "Please, can you just let me in for a second?" It was a woman. She sounded out of breath, almost panicked. I looked through the peephole and there she was, maybe mid-20ish, wide eyes glancing down the hall like she was being followed. I know, stupid move, but I cracked the door open just a little and asked her what is going on. She whispered that there's a guy, he's been following her since she left the train. She didn't know where else to go from there. That's when I realized. The guy I saw earlier. My heart was racing, but I stepped aside and let her in. I locked the door immediately, turned off the lights, and we just stood there in the dark, listening. A few seconds later, heavy footsteps passed my door. Slow, like someone was looking for something. Then, nothing. She stayed for about 30 minutes, just sitting on my couch shaking. I offered her water, and we barely talked. Eventually, she called a friend to come pick her up. When she left, she just said thank you, and disappeared down the hall. I never saw her again. I don't know if she was telling the truth. Maybe she was genuinely in danger. But I think about that night all the time, and I can't decide if I did the right thing. Or if I got really, really lucky. Confession 2. I paid a couple of girls to feign interest in my mate. I've got a mate who's nearly 30 now. To be honest, he's not a great-looking bloke, but more importantly, he's had no experience with girls ever. Which sucks, 'cause he's genuinely a great dude and maintains friendships with some girls. But he tends to friend-zone himself before asking one out. He's suffered pretty hardcore anxiety and depression and hates going out. So this year at my birthday, one of the only events he'll come out for 'cause he's a great bloke and knows it means a lot to me. I asked a couple of random girls if I could shout them a drink, and they could just compliment my mate on something and have a small chat. No obligation to be anything but just polite and nice. And my lord, he's been a different dude ever since. His confidence has skyrocketed. He's even asking when we're going out next. If he ever found out what I did, I genuinely think he would never leave the house again. Confession 3. I regret getting my master's degree. It was a waste of time. In December, I finished my master's degree from a top 5 university. Got a 3.9 GPA with the Dean's Award. 2 weeks ago, I got the email that I officially have been issued my degree. It wasn't worth it. I spent 2 years crying and stressing over a piece of paper. I strained my relationship because of the stress. We're fine, but it still wasn't fun. I'm not even changing my job because of the degree. The only reason I got it was because my job was paying for it, and I thought it would be cool to have a secondary degree. But it wasn't worth it. Now I've got a stupid piece of paper that says I completed some classes and wrote a 50 pages paper. I wish I could go back and never start. Confession 4. Stealing customers' McDonald's points at self-service kiosk. So I used to do something kinda messed up. How the self-service kiosk work is you can either just order normally, or you can enter a 4-digit code to receive 100 points for every dollar spent. So what I would do is watch out the window and wait for customers to walk into the store. And right before they walk in, I would enter the 4-digit code and log into my McDonald's rewards account, so when they ordered and bought food, I would get the points for 100% free. And they would have no idea what happened. Confession 5. I steal soda from my university center quite often. I live at home, but attend college. There's fountain drinks available at the university center. You're supposed to buy a meal at the shops, get a paper cup, and get a drink. I bring my own cup, make sure there's no faculty around, and get soda most times I'm on campus. The university gets thousands of dollars from me every year. They can live with me taking a bit of soda, in my opinion. I have also stolen Ziploc bags from my work occasionally, but they pay me minimum wage. so I'm not deeply bothered on that either. Confession 6. Marrying for money sucks, and I do not recommend it. Married a 40-year-old when I was 19. Started dating when I was 17. Yes, it was gross, but that's what happened. The only reason he married me is because I was hot. The only reason I married him is because he had money. I actually do have other redeeming characteristics, but he married me because I was hot. I know this. Everyone knows this. It doesn't feel great, but I can deal with it. We've been married 20 years, 4 kids, so we are stable and we have lots in common at this point. And we do love each other, but if I could go back and slap myself, I would. What nobody tells you, or they try and you don't listen because you're a dumbass teenager, is that marrying like this means you will fucking owe him. For everything. Every goddamn day. Not just in the bedroom, but in every other matter in your life. The stuff you never imagined someone else trying to decide for you. And you don't just owe him for the money. It's a lot heavier than that. He'll never say it out loud. But you'll know the deal. Fundamentally unequal. He'll pull rank at the most random times, and it will make you feel like you're falling through the floor. I don't hate my life or anything. I accept that I made this bed, and I have to lie in it, but I wouldn't recommend it to anyone else. My oldest daughter is 2 years younger than I was when I met my husband, and I can't imagine. Confession 7. I sleep for 2 hours every day on company time whilst working an 8-hour day. I won't disclose my job, but in the morning I have to do something that they believe takes 2 hours. It actually only takes half an hour. I'll nap for an hour and a half in my car. Then later on in the day when my manager goes for lunch, I'll have another 30 to 45-minute nap because I know nobody will come barging into my office. I still get all my work done on time and feel really rejuvenated throughout the day. Confession 8. I disabled my teacher's account to avoid a failing grade. When I was 15, I once intentionally logged into my teacher's workspace 3 times with the wrong password so her account would get disabled. The goal? To stop her from entering my failing grade. It actually worked, for a little while, at least. She couldn't log in, and the grade wasn't recorded immediately. But the next day, she stood in front of the whole class and asked who did it. I just sat there in silence, completely terrified. No way was I confessing. Looking back, I kinda laugh at the situation, but I'm also so glad I kept my mouth shut. They never found out who did it, and if I had confessed, she probably would have gotten me expelled. Confession 9. I lie to my parents about money so I can have a better life. I've never admitted this to anyone except my husband, but I come from a family where everyone borrows money from everyone. My dad guilt-tripped me into taking out close to $30,000 in loans, which is a crap ton of debt in the country I'm in, to help him get his business off the ground. My aunts and uncles are always borrowing money to each other. Although I've managed to bring our debt down considerably, he doesn't understand the impact it's had on me. My parents even had the audacity to ask my husband for his inheritance to help the business out. All because we're family. But I lied to them about how much he actually got because it's my husband's money. I hate it so much. I think this mentality of borrowing money is a poverty mindset. And so now I just lie to them and tell them we never have any money. That we're living check to check even though we're financially stable and doing well for ourselves. We live on little, so my family doesn't know we have money. I sometimes feel guilty, but then I get over that very quickly when I see them by buying motorbikes and new cars, and spending $400 each on leather jackets. I will continue lying to them, even if they're struggling financially, because they don't make smart financial decisions, and I don't want that for myself. I want generational wealth, but they are live-in-the-now kind of people. Confession 10. My previous job continued paying me for 6 months after I resigned. After I resigned from a position as a software developer, the company forgot to remove me from their payroll and continued paying me for 6 months. I let it go for a couple months, but then reached out to my former boss. He said he would take care of it, but the paychecks continued to come in for a few more months. Sad day once they stopped. Hopefully they can't come after me for the additional wages. Confession 11. I illegally sold my company's office after layoff. I'm using a clone account, for reasons you can probably guess. I used to work as a technical program manager at an offshore office for a Fortune 500 US company. Our team had about 30 people at its peak. Designers, software engineers, business analysts, and me, the only TPM. In 2023, the company laid off the entire office. I was asked to stay on as the last person to handle all the paperwork, return tasks and equipment before they fully shut things down. After wrapping up my tasks, I waited for months without hearing anything from the company. No emails, no updates, just silence. So I decided to take matters into my own hands. I sold all the office equipment on the black market. Nearly 60 MacBook Pros, around 100 ultra-sharp monitors, over 100 Herman Miller chairs, plus desks, TVs, and other office gear. It's been over a year now, and still, no word from the company, so I think I'm in the clear update. The reason I'm sharing this is because the office management vendor already went into our leased space and cleared everything out, so another company could move in after our lease ended. If I hadn't sold all the equipment beforehand, it would have just been thrown out by the vendor. Confession 12. It's been 20 years and I still can't stop loving her. I'm in my late 40s. I've been married to my wife for over 20 years. I absolutely love her and the life we've made. However, I also know I'm still madly in love with my ex-girlfriend, the girl I left behind to move to the city to chase my career. There hasn't been a day that's passed that I haven't thought about her. Recently, she contacted me to reconnect me with her father. In doing so, she and I started to talk again, and she admitted that the thoughts and feelings I have for her are mutual. Not a day has passed that she hasn't thought the same. But she's also married and has kids, and super happy with her husband. Just like I am with my wife and my kids. But a part of our heart belongs to the other, and we really have no idea what to do with that love other than just continue to lock it away. To protect our marriages, we decided to stop talking again. But I still think of her. Every day. I truly love my wife. I also truly love my ex. And I have no idea what to do with those emotions. Update. Sorry, I wasn't clear. My wife knows about her. She knows what the ex meant to me in the past. And she knows about the exchange. There are no secrets. And my wife also knows I cherish my marriage, thus why I discontinued the conversation with the ex. There's no way I would trade that for a taste of the past. My wife is incredibly beautiful, confident, and I know she is the person I want to grow old with. She's not threatened. I'm just in the process of putting these old feelings back in a box, and just needed a place to say it aloud outside of the one person who always stuck hearing my stuff. Did not realize it would stir up so many comments. Confession 13. I've been pretending to not understand a language I've known for years. Full disclosure, I am bilingual. I speak both English and Swedish. My mother is an immigrant from Sweden and got her citizenship when I was still in grade school. Though she tried to teach me and my siblings her native language, it didn't really stick well when we were kids. However, I am an autistic person, and I never truly gave up on learning my mother's maiden language. I'd say I've been fluent for about 3 years now, but the issue is I haven't really told my parents about my secret studying nor my mastery. When we visit my mom's family in Sweden during the fall and sometimes winter, I'm dead silent, speaking only in English to my siblings and father. I can understand everything my relatives say, even the bad things, but I still haven't figured out how to speak without it being a big deal. I really should have told my mama, but by now I can't tell her without me hiding it being the main issue. I feel like I'll hurt her, so for now I'll just leave it. Confession 14. I lied about being colorblind to everybody I know. I, 21, lied about being colorblind. It began in elementary where I told all my friends and began hinting towards my parents. I began doing extensive research on certain types of colorblindness and their commonness. I chose the most common type, a red-green colorblind type. I learned exactly how they saw and began to even be able to picture what each shade would look like in colorblind vision. As I grew old enough to realize these lies weren't exactly okay, I had already had everyone around my finger. I was too deep into this lie. Soon after, I was gifted colorblind glasses by family. As the years went by, I found an amazing boyfriend who I've been with for 3 years now, and we're planning to marry soon. He and his family believes I am colorblind. Everyone in my life believes I am colorblind. I cannot tell a single soul. Nobody knows. Confession 15. My best friend is about to become a therapist and he's going to be bad at it. I have a friend who's been in school for psychology and is about to start his internship to become a counselor. He's a recovering drug addict who's going to be working in the field, helping addicts. I've been super supportive of him through this, but deep down, I know he's going to be horrible at it. He is one of the most snap-to-judgment people I've ever met. Zero outside perspective other than his own, and suffers from some serious cognitive dissonance as well as being super entitled. I don't think he's a bad person, obviously, or we wouldn't be friends, but realistically speaking, I feel like he's going to end up being more harmful than helpful to the people he's meant to help. It's been bothering me, probably more than it should, that people seeking help at their very lowest points in life are going to be stuck having him as a counselor. I'm not going to say any of this to him for obvious reasons, one of which is it's really not place or my business, but it's been bothering me, so I just wanted to say it, which is why I made the post.